Man, oh man, did Avowed just jump to the top of so many people's most anticipated games from Xbox? There's been this massive leak about the game and how Obsidian Entertainment has been hard at work with this game. Let's talk about this massive RPG that Xbox is working on because there's a lot of information here, so let's get into it. Hey, what's up everyone? Thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to be notified on future content, make sure to hit that small little bell icon. It helps out the channel a lot. Alright, enough of that. Let's get into this leak because Avowed is one of the biggest games announced by Xbox. It was revealed last year at their E3-esque event with a pretty awesome trailer that showed the world along with some of the enemies. It's being made by Obsidian Entertainment, who by the way is a new studio that joined Xbox back in 2018. They've been hard at work making this game along with Outer Worlds 2 and plenty of other games like Grounded. And I have to say that once they were purchased by Xbox, I instantly said they would turn into one of the best first-party developers for Xbox, and it was a massively good purchase. And after the success of the Outer Worlds and Grounded, I stand by that comment. But now let's get into their next major game, which is Avowed. This leak is coming from Jez Corden of Windows Central. The article is linked in the description, but I wanted to talk about what was being said and what has been revealed about the game. So to give some background, here's how reliable Jez is as a journalist. In the past year or so, more and more details have gradually made their way to me via trusted and proven sources familiar with Microsoft's plans for the future of Xbox. First, we detailed Contraband, previously known as Project Typhoon, which is set to be a co-op smuggler's paradise. Then we detailed Project Dragon, which looks to be an online RPG from the creators of Hitman, IO Interactive. We also recently offered some details on In Exile's Project Cobalt, which is a steampunk-style FPS RPG, alongside Project Indus, which we believe is a 4-time strategy game from the team behind Ashes of the Singularity. As you can see right here, he's gotten a lot of things right when it comes to Xbox. He talks about games being announced, leaked games coming out, and unannounced games we've never even heard about. I've talked about him before as someone that we should all pay attention to when it comes to Xbox news. And from what this article mentions, it looks like he just got a massive information dump about Avowed. Here's what's said in the article. Sources familiar with the internal plans have reached out to us in recent months offering details on Avowed, now deep into pre-production at Obsidian Entertainment. The studio is close to having a working early version of the game with many mechanics and core gameplay pillars already implemented. For those who don't know, we've only seen Avowed in a pre-rendered CGI trailer thus far. The game is set in the Pillars of Eternity universe known as the World of Eternity and utilizes a first-person viewpoint similar to Obsidian's The Outer Worlds. The Outer Worlds fans already have plenty of reason to be excited about Obsidian's upcoming slate, given that The Outer Worlds 2 has been confirmed. Avowed seems to be based on a similar, albeit enhanced engine from The Outer Worlds, complete with action-oriented first-person combat and deep RPG exploration and narrative systems. We were told Avowed will feature multiple class playstyles and borrow from Skyrim's two-handed combat system. You could wield 2 daggers and be a stealthy rogue, or dive into archery with a 2-handed bow. You could use a combination of swords and magic, or go full 2-handed magic, which required to wield some of the game's more potent spells and abilities. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is that it's extremely encouraging to know that Obsidian is very close to having a working early version of the game. This seems to indicate that the core gameplay loop is already ironed out and the developers are just putting everything together. It's a vital part of game development, and it's great to hear that they're ready to maybe build this game out in the next year or two, because for a while, a lot of people have wondered just how far out this game truly is. But what's also encouraging is that they're working with the same engine that helped make The Outer Worlds. Now, if you haven't played that game, I strongly recommend you do because it's a very well-made game and runs pretty awesome on the PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. It's sort of Obsidian's take on Fallout, yet more colorful. And it looks like Avowed is going to be their take on what Elder Scrolls Skyrim was. We can easily see that the game is going to have a class playstyle. You'll be able to play how you want to play, much like Skyrim. From a caster with magic coming out of your hands, to dual-wielding daggers and being stealthy, or you could go into archery with a bow. The choice is completely yours. Much like Elder Scrolls gives people that same option. Yet what makes this game so promising is that it's based off of the Pillars of Eternity franchise, which has a very rich history, much like the article mentions right here. Avowed will feature many elements Pillar of Eternity fans will be familiar with. Wizard spells like Jolting Touch, which can fry enemies with forks of lightning, will be present. Two-handed spells like Fireball are conjured using complex-looking hand gestures, but decimate enemies in a storm of magma and fire. I also saw statues affect spells like Fatid Caress, imbuing enemies with corrosive poison. Weapon attachments seem to be a big feature too, with magically enhanced swords and frozen arrows as examples. Pillar-style guns may also appear in the game, similar to the muskets and arquebuses found in the original two titles. Familiar creatures such as the lizard-like Zurips will appear, alongside much larger and deadlier threats, all the way up to wyverns and drakes. The combat seems to be more loadout based than Elder Scrolls, which gives you mountains of spells in a gigantic list. Warriors will get access to a more physical attacks like swordplay, powerful kicks, and shield bashes, while casters will be given a range of spellbook options to customize and tailor their combat style, with attacks bound to specific buttons. This sounds so amazing. I have to admit that I love the fantasy genre a lot more than I do like the Fallout games. Skyrim is an amazing game with so much depth and a massive open world. You can easily put 200 hours into the game and still find new experiences in there. And it would seem that Pillars of Eternity and Avowed is trying to set up a world just like that. But what they'll focus on the most is the combat. And after playing Obsidian games before, I know that they focus on gameplay first. They want the gameplay loop to be fun, the combat to be fun, and the overall experience of the game to be fun. So I expect a massive game that will give people endless amount of content they can explore, especially now that they've had several years to build this game, not to mention Xbox backing them up and funding them. And this colorful, fun game is something that seems to be the focus for the team, which is what the article talks about right here. If The Outer Worlds was Obsidian's take on the Fallout style game, Avowed is undoubtedly Obsidian's take on the Elder Scrolls. The two-handed first-person combat style is unmistakable, but there are obvious differences in the early documentation. At least directly compared to the likes of Skyrim and Oblivion, Avowed seems to be far more colorful game, reminding me far more of the Outer Worlds. Luminescent cave mushrooms, verdant forests awash with gigantic flora, and hulking sunlit temples, complete with skeleton-infested depths and tombs, are plentiful. It came as a bit of a surprise given the game's original trailer, which seemed like it was trying to strike a much darker tone, save for the neon spell effects. Pillars of Eternity does seem to take environmental interactivity a bit further than the Outer Worlds too, complete with swimming capabilities. We've even heard of destructible environments using lit torches and fire spells to burn down blocked entryways too. Fire spells leave areas coated in flames too, which cascades against walls and floors. The depth in this game sounds insane, and the colorful nature of it sounds intriguing to say the least. Now, I understand that most obvious comparison game is going to be the Elder Scrolls, and I think that's intentional. Obsidian Entertainment loves creating massive RPG games, but was never given the budget that Bethesda was given. That might have changed once they joined Xbox. We already know they have over 200 developers on their staff, not to mention they've already hired a lot more over the last 3 years being with the company. And that's something I think people don't remember. This studio has been a part of Xbox for the last 3 years, so they've been getting a bunch of funding, expanding, and also given the time to make the game they want to make, which would take a lot of time. And seeing how this game is in the pre-alpha stages gives a lot of promise to Xbox gamers, especially since we'll probably see this game next year, something that Jez even says could happen as early as the end of this year. I feel like there's a good chance we'll see Avowed in a playable state by E3 2022 at the least, given the quality of the content I've seen, which may even be several months old at this point. Perhaps there's even a small chance we'd see it at the Game Awards at the end of the year. I teased on my podcast recently that I'd bet money that we'd see another Xbox exclusive, Hellblade 2, at the Game Awards this year. Since I've indeed heard that this is the plan, perhaps we could get a 2-for-1 deal and see Avowed show up there too, but it may be too early just yet. I think the end of the year announcements are going to be pretty big. I wouldn't be surprised to see Avowed and Hellblade 2 showcase at the end of this year. Xbox will be coming off of the Forza Horizon 5 hype and the Halo Infinite hype. Throw in these two massive games for good measure, and you can see the hype moving into 2022 easily. And if this massive leak is any indication of what Xbox is trying to do with their first-party games, you can see that they want to dominate a lot of the gaming media's attention. With Starfield next year, Redfall next summer, and now Avowed getting this massive leak, it's obvious that Xbox is focusing on massive AAA games that will give a lot of content to gamers, all of which will be on Xbox Game Pass. Here's to hoping this leak is an indication that we'll see the game sooner rather than later, because right now, I'm very hyped for this because Avowed was on the top of my list, and after reading all these details about the game, it's even higher now. I'm so excited to play this. But enough of what I think about Avowed, let me know what you think. Does this leak get you excited? Is Avowed going to be one of the biggest RPGs for Xbox? Are you surprised with the amount of detail in this leak? Is Obsidian Entertainment the best purchase Xbox has made in their new studios? What other games do you want to see from other developers across the first party of Xbox? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button to support us out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zocker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamertag is Zocker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. So right now, I'm playing a lot of Far Cry 6. I love that game. I don't care what anybody says. I know people don't like the loop and how it's kind of the same as the old one, but you know what? Everything technically in the game is improved. The graphics, the gunplay, everything in there I'm having a blast with. Not to mention, the story is actually really compelling, and I'm enjoying the characters, I'm enjoying the people I meet, and I'm loving the missions and taking over outposts. It's a Far Cry game. You just have fun with it. Outside of that, Game Pass just got Back 4 Blood, so I'm going to be jumping into that. There's no qualms about it. Love Back 4 Blood, love Left 4 Dead. I love the beta, so I'm going to be jumping into that. But let me know what you're playing. Are you playing something on Game Pass right now? I know Avengers just dropped. I know Back 4 Blood just dropped. There's so many games coming to that platform that it's insane. So let me know what you're playing, because that's what we're here for. It's to talk games. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.